Hi everyone, Gabby and I, we're here
Hello.
with trying to share everything that we can about immigration. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Today we're going to be doing two success stories. One is on H-1B and the other one is about somebody getting fired while they're on H-1B visa, changing to a tourist visa, and then getting back into a H-1B visa. Now, if you know anything about H-1B and change of status in this day and age is extremely difficult, so there's a lot that we want to share. But as always, feel free to ask your questions, even if it's not about employment, right? My department, we do a lot of employment cases. Gabby does a lot of family-based cases. So when we're here together, basically you can ask almost everything other than just removal defense. But even then, Gabby knows a lot about removal as well. So feel free to ask.
Yeah, Mary, who asked questions last time, said after a week, my case got approved.
Wonderful!
Yay,
Congratulations!
Congratulations.
Good job.
And they do have a question about asylum. Asylum granted, LPR, but pending. Green card is still pending.
Okay.
So what should I do?
Nothing, just wait. I mean, asylum approval is the hardest part. Green card pending could be a million different reasons. And just so you know, a lot of times green card gets approved, you could still get a notice of intent to revoke your green card later on if they find out something. So definitely not super safe yet. But once you do get the green card, the longer you stay in the US, you produce great work, good value to the United States, you're filing taxes, you have no criminal record. Even if they do want to revoke it 5-7 years later, you can go back to the court and say cancellation, removal, give me back my green card, right? And so, but right now it's pending, not much you can do, just wait. But if it's really too long, we can kind of explore mandamus.
My reentry permit still shows we will prepare your case for officer review. I took my fingerprints on February 2024. What should I do? Oh, wow. I asked my representative office to contact USCIS.
You know, we had a recent case that was like that also. It was like we filed it for the entire family. Everybody got it last October, but he didn't get it. And we had to go back again and again to push them. And it was over like 1 year and 7 months. In your case, it's way over that. So it's crazy. I don't know. If you are in the US, I would recommend doing the field office, getting the emergency advance parole or reentry permit at the field office. If you're abroad, the only thing I could say is prepare your case well and show it to the customs officer, and hopefully they let you in so that you can go and push them. Just so you know, once it gets approved, your approval date starts from the time of the approval, and then you'll get that extra year or 2 years, right? But just getting back into the country is a hard part. Now, if you don't need to come back, maybe this is a good thing. But if you need to come back as soon as possible and you don't have your reentry permit yet, I think this is something you want to really delicately prepare and to talk to an officer. We're happy to jump on a consultation with you and walk you through exactly what you do. Depends on exactly how long you've been out of the country, when did you get your green card, how did you get your green card, what are your home ties, what are you going to do in the U.S.?
Mm-hmm. And I think they're in the U.S. because they have a representative office.
No, you could be out, and then your relative, or you could
point.
contact a senator, congressman.
Yeah. My bias is showing.
Your bias.
Okay, DACA delayed, submitted inquiry. What next?
Yeah, Gabby, this is your department.
Yeah, just wait about 30 days for the inquiry to be responded to. If you do not get a response, then you have to submit another inquiry. So you have to prove that you have tried to contact USCIS through the inquiry website. And you would choose out of normal processing time because the DACA has been delayed. And then the next step, you could contact USCIS through the EMA chat. And you would tell them that you already tried to contact through the inquiry, that you haven't gotten a response. Hopefully they can escalate your previous request to an officer and then get a response from there. So there is a protocol to go through in order to get a response.
Does a reckless driving, which has been dismissed to a non-guilty plea, affect a VAWA case?
Not directly in the sense of your VAWA qualifications, but your VAWA application is connected to a green card application. So on the good moral character analysis from the USCIS officer, they may factor that in. Even if it's not a direct, inadmissibility or deportability, I think those are the keywords you want to know about, especially inadmissibility, right? Whatever crime offense, put that in AI, ask them, is it inadmissibility? It'll probably say no. It got dismissed already. Shouldn't be a problem. But officer's discretion, they may still want to ask you more about it in detail. And it's, for your purposes, it's not going to be the thing that will deny your case, but you want to still do other additional things to improve your case so that it doesn't take away from it, right? It's a minus point, but it is not lethal.
My I-140 is approved. I've opted for consular processing, but they're in Pakistan. So how long will this pause last?
I'm predicting it's going to last the entire Trump term. I think it's going to go for a long, long time. Depending on what you do, you might be able to get a national interest exception to be able to come into the U.S. on another non-immigrant visa and then potentially be able to file your adjustment of status here, right? Your I-140 approved doesn't mean the priority is current. So you might want to wait until your priority is current. And it's like you really want to come now. You have some really urgent reasons. Apply for a national interest exception, get in, work here, file the adjustment of status, get the approval, right? Now, what can possibly be of that urgent from Pakistan to the United States? The only thing I think of is World Cup just ended. Pakistan does the best soccer balls in the world. You guys have the best technology to make all of it. Olympics is in the United States and Los Angeles. There's a lot of crossover. They need it. If you're in that industry, potentially you can get a letter rec to come in.
Parents in the U.S. on D1, and that was 30 years ago. Is there any chance of status adjustment now that they're an adult?
I don't know.
D1, I'm not sure
Yeah, I
what
don't
the
know.
D1
Okay,
is.
I guess we don't handle that. What happens if my wife doesn't show up at the green card interview?
Yeah, I would highly recommend postponing the interview. Highly. They don't really look down on postponed interviews. Things come up, right? They're gonna make their adjudication when they see you. It is not a big detractor. People get sick the day of and they have to cancel. Now, don't show up because cases could get denied. Formally write in, say what you need to reschedule, or if you're already there, say emergency happened, you can't be there. But extending it, rescheduling it, totally fine. Prepare well, then go and face the officer.
So following up on waiting since fingerprints in 2024, USCIS said they can't provide any info on how long it will take. They're doing additional review on my case. And they're physically in China contacting Senator's office through email.
Right. Got it. Yeah. So my theory is that they probably just lost it. You know, USCIS, I-131, reentry permits, advanced paroles is a huge mess ever since COVID. We deal with them all the time, trying to get things expedited. We file probably over 1,000 advanced paroles a year. This inevitably happens. Your case, out of all the 1,000 that we do, is still longer. So you definitely have a very unique situation. All this effort doesn't go to waste. I'm sure you're documenting everything. Once everything is documented, you could show that to the customs officer. I want to come back. I can't. Please let me in.
So D1 is crew member visa, C-245I. So their parents came in on a crew visa 245I 30 years ago. Now, is there a chance that they can adjust status because their child is an adult?
I don't know. You don't want to do 245.
I think 245, yeah. But from what I remembered vaguely, the crew member visa does not allow for adjustment. That there's no adjustment eligibility through crewmen, because I remember doing some research before.
We have to research it more.
Yeah, we would have to look into it, but I think there is no eligibility for adjustment.
My mom self-deported. Will they come looking for her? My husband has DACA.
So the mother self-deported.
Will they come looking for her?
Maybe at the address that they currently live at with their husband who has DACA.
But did she notify ICE, right? Did she volunteer departure? Did she use a CBP? Because if there isn't, then for all intents and purposes, she hasn't left, right? There's no way for the government to know. That's why CBP right now is trying to implement the exit protocol. So everybody leaving, they will know who's leaving and documenting that. But if she just left recently, and if especially through Mexico, they don't have the system set up yet, right?
And then I would say if the wife is a U.S. citizen and the husband is on DACA, right, they should explore options to get a green card for the husband. Because it sounds like she's concerned because the mother left, but the husband has DACA and they are living, in the same house. So I would say if that wife is a U.S. citizen, they could potentially explore options to get the husband a green card. And yeah.
How long does it take for my husband to be deported after signing his deportation? He did so on July 1st.
We've seen about 3 weeks to 4 weeks. And here's some of the more details to provide you guys. It's not just the U.S. government. It's the U.S. government trying to coordinate flights, go back to the home country, how the home country is going to receive them, where are they going to go. They have to go be rehabilitated in the home country as well, right? So there's a lot of logistics and scheduling. It's not just like, okay, you can leave by plane ticket and out. There's so much coordination between government agencies. And so, you know, I mean, I know, and we've seen this could take 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You have a lot more details on it.
I actually heard of a case. This woman now came as a child, 8 years old, and she got caught by ICE. She was put into detention, and she was in the process of being deported. But because she was only 8 years old when she came into the U.S., her government, her home country, her government did not have any information that she even existed. She never got an ID. She only got the one passport that, because, you know, she came in with the visa. But because the government did not recognize her as a citizen, there had to be a huge investigation to prove that she was actually from her home country. So, like in these cases, it's really hard because your government doesn't recognize you as a citizen.
Right.
So how do you get deported back to a country that doesn't recognize you as a citizen, right?
Right.
So basically a very long process to even get an emergency passport, which is what they are doing now to get people deported, is if you never had a passport, you need an emergency passport to fly through those, you know, to go back. But just extremely difficult situations where your government doesn't recognize you. They have no information on you, so then they have to go back to the parents, the grandparents, to prove that you actually belong to that country. Right. So, so usually it depends, right? On everyone's situation is different, but typically about 3 to 4 weeks, like you said, to get deported. This case took about 4 months. For the person to be able to go back, because the investigation and then the government just doubting that she was just trying to get back to this country. And it's
not just the detention centers in the U.S. that's crowded. The detention centers or rehabilitation centers outside of the U.S. They're also packed, and so there's a lot of nonprofit organizations working with the home country organizations to shelter all the people who are getting deported from the U.S. to make them, well, where are you going to live? Are you going to survive? Are you going to be scammed? Are you going to be a victim of crime? And so there are a lot of nonprofits that I met this time when I went to the ALA San Diego conference, and they are working on the other side of the border, trying to help people get back into Mexico civilization and how to live and how to access their Social Security in the U.S. because they've already paid 40 credits, they've already been here, they've already done so many things. How are they going to be able to still live life, right? And so there's so many things that is required by the other government, but all that needs to be arranged. And until it's rearranged, they cannot get on a flight and leave.
So for this reentry permit that's been pending for over 2 years now, is it best to just wait longer? And if I don't get it, fly to the U.S. directly, or just fly to the U.S. this year as soon as possible?
There's no way to answer that question. I think if there's 100 attorneys, I think there might be 50 different opinions on this. Where is this asking
In
from?
China.
I don't know, but so YouTube,
YouTube.
or YouTube. Okay, if you're on YouTube, you should be able to see our YouTube channel. If you go on our YouTube channel, there is a green card holder reentry playlist. There's over 100 different videos at least that talks about how to get back into the United States, what documents to prepare, how to explain to the customs officer what are good answers, what are not good answers. We've helped some clients get in, just a couple of weeks ago, it was like 7 years out of the country. So in your case, 2 years is actually pretty easy in my opinion. And on top of that, you got senators and all the stuff, people involved. So I think you have a pretty simple case, but you still want to prepare really, really well and document it really well. So check out that playlist. Look at the different stories, and then I would recommend doing a consultation so we can accurately answer you. But again, this is one of those situations that if you ask 100 attorneys, you'll probably get 50 different answers.
And why is that?
Because the law is because the law is the same, but it has been adjudicated differently in the past 6, 7 years so drastically. Seattle does it different than San Diego, different than Los Angeles, then different than JFK. Somebody who does this case once in a while has a bad experience. They tell all their clients that story. We do over 1,000 reentry permits. We have a lot of clients constantly coming in, and so we're very keen on this area. I go to AILA conferences a lot, talk to other attorneys that are doing this worldwide, not just in the US. And again, different people have different experiences and different methods. So that's why you have different experiences.
I have an interview on the 30th, but I'm going to lose my EAD from TPS before then. Work permit is still pending. So what should they do?
They have an interview, like an adjustment interview? What?
Yeah, possibly.
Okay, you have an
interview on the 30th, but will lose EAD from TPS before then. The work permit is still pending.
Okay.
Yeah, so most likely file for adjustment. You should quit. Yeah, you should. Yeah, so don't have any unlawful authorized work, especially if your petition is based on a green card holder or not immediate relative. If your spouse is a U.S. citizen, maybe it's a little bit more okay, but definitely do a consultation. And the safest thing is to just stop your work at the day of the end of the work authorization.
There's no way to
bridge the gap.
Yeah, extend it.
Take a sabbatical, right? Leave of absence. You're volunteering instead of working. You take yourself off the payroll. There's a lot of things that the company and you can work on to do just to bridge that gap.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The privilege of U.S. citizens just to be able to work willy-nilly, just I want to work, I don't want to work. It's the non-citizens.
Exactly.
They have to deal with work permits. Imagine you have
green card.
You have to pay a subscription to the government just to be able to work, to make the money to pay for the subscription.
Wow.
Every year. And then if you don't file on time, you don't get the work authorization, you can't even work.
Yeah, think of DACA recipients wanting to work and losing jobs because the work permits are being delayed. And it's like these people are suffering. They have mortgages and they have, families, and it's crazy. It's like, and then you
if you work one day without authorization, your green card could get denied later on.
Yeah. Are marriage visas still running normally?
Yeah.
In removal proceedings for a violence dispute, no charges, everything was dismissed, and record was cleared. Should I be worried?
The moment you have an arrest, it is always on your FBI and DOJ report. The moment you have an arrest and there is a charge, even if it's dismissed, it's always on your rap sheet. And that is something that CBP, Customs, that is something that removal defense, trial attorneys who are trying to get you deported or whatever, they all have access to, and they can all see. They don't see the details of it, but they see it, and they can make their argument saying, this person is not safe in the U.S., and it's an inadmissibility. Immigration officers have the discretion, as if they are judges, to make that discretionary call, even though in the court of law, you're innocent. In the eyes of immigration officers, whether it's Customs, Consulate, or USCIS officer, they have discretion, and so they can use it to adjudicate your good moral character. So should you be worried? It is something that is going to affect the case, but does it mean it's guaranteed to be denied? No. Definitely do your best to improve your good moral character application, right?
When submitting proof of leaving the country, it's in Spanish and ICE denies it. Can I appeal and have it translated officially into English?
I haven't done that.
Just resubmit it, right? Like just get it certified and translated, and then just resubmit it. I mean, I don't think there is an appeal if they deny, but if you're sending a response in Spanish and you resubmit it in English, then I think should be okay.
Okay. Receipt date was in 2023, early 2023. Haven't received a new prima facie, expired on 2026.
VAWA?
Yeah. The time frame keeps expanding. So what should they do?
So definitely contact USCIS, go to the website, go to the tools section, and then click on service request, and then let them know that you're waiting for a new prima facie. Make sure your address is updated though. Sometimes people that are doing these cases move a lot. So I would say definitely go to the USCIS website and file an inquiry to let them know that you haven't received a second prima facie.
Do I need to press charges to get approved for a U visa?
Do you need to press charges? So U visa, you are a victim of a crime. We don't do U visas at the office, so I'm just sharing what we generally know. But U visa, you are a victim of crime. You don't necessarily need to press charges. As charges don't have to be pressed at all, because what if the person is gone? The cops are looking for them to press charges, right? But you need to be involved with an actual incident. So a police report should be filed. The police officer needs to be willing to sign off on it and tie you to an incident. But does there need to be a criminal that is already caught or in pursuit or identified? No.
Can a parent seek some sort of permission if they share custody? They got divorced, but they have a child together.
Do parents need to seek custody in a divorce case?
Question is, seek some sort of permission if they share custody. Maybe this is immigration benefit, possibly?
Yeah. If your kid doesn't have green card and you're divorced and you're petitioning them, the consulate required it, Department of Homeland Security required it. Yeah, you would need permission. Same thing, you want to change their name, you want to, do anything in the hospital, a lot of times you need authorization.
I had my first interview August 4th for Asylum and USCIS. Can they arrest me?
I don't know if this is true yet. This morning I just saw on the news, it's a pretty reputable news, that a judgment status application was filed. The next day, ICE picked up an individual. Was it an accident? Was it intentional? Did this person have a rap sheet? No, I don't know. I didn't look into that yet. Asylum application pending. Could it be denied? Can they detain? ICE, CBP, they have a lot of authority. So it is quite hard to say, no, you can't be detained. Many U.S. citizens have been detained and fined by ICE. Why? Because they didn't cooperate, because they didn't show their identification to prove their U.S. citizenship, and they got detained for multiple days. So, short answer, yes, anybody can be detained. What is the consequence of you being detained? Are you going to be able to sue them? Are you going to be able to let out? Are you going to be able to be bonded out? That is still something that the courts are trying to figure out, right?
So on this VAWA follow-up, again, prima facie key expired, and the time frame keeps expanding. They said they tried contacting USCIS. They said don't contact until October 2027. Tried USCIS, Senator, Ombudsman, same answer.
Right.
So is there any option?
Is it an asylum case or a VAWA case?
No, it's a VAWA case.
VAWA
and
case?
then they haven't gotten a prima facie. That's really strange.
Mandamus is one way to go. So if it's a really strong case and you're okay with reporters finding about it and pushing on your behalf, we just did a case. I was just finishing this conversation last night. Was a very simple marriage-based case. We only waited for 8-9 months. Normally we would not recommend mandamus, but they just did it on their own and actually got a really good officer to review their case. And the case is going to get approved. And so maybe mandamus is an action to push good cases forward.
So on this permission issue, basically the father of their child was getting a marriage-based visa, but they're now divorcing. So would he still be able to be a co-parent in the child's life? Is there another route he can take to stay and be in the child's life?
He will always be in the child's life because he's the parent.
But co-parenting,
Right. But to be able to be in the United States and parenting together without a green card, he would probably need some sort of other way to be able to get a visa to come to the U.S. And everything that needs to be done in the U.S. would probably need his authorization and consent.
So yeah, I think the commenter is asking, can the father get a visa
To come to the
be-
U.S.
to
be in
live
the
in the
child's
U.S.?
life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There is no visa to be a parent of a child. You need to find a visa that allows you for different, like to work, to do different things, right?
study.
But that itself is not a visa. You could get a tourist visa to visit your child. That's a tourist activity, but it is not to stay and be a parent.
Would 751 waiver work? They said they are getting a marriage-based visa, but they're now divorcing.
If they, well, 751 is you already got the green card, and then you apply for the waiver, and you get the 10-year green card. Yeah.
Can I reschedule my first interview for asylum with USCIS?
I don't know. I'm assuming you can. We don't really do asylum.
Yeah,
we
no,
can't
we
do
don't
asylum
do
here.
asylum.
So, but I imagine you can.
Okay, so for this ICE voluntary departure, didn't accept, deny. The letter was to prove we left in 93 for a voluntary departure. The officer said there's no letter, no evidence because there were just 2 letters in Spanish, and they said that wasn't enough proof. So can I have it translated and resubmit the 485?
Oh, that's
A
interesting.
voluntary departure case. I mean, usually for voluntary departures, so I came across a situation with a client. They had a tourist visa. They came in on the tourist visa. Then they applied for asylum. They were granted voluntary departure. They left, but the visa was still valid, the tourist visa. So they came back, and then there was a stamp on their passport, right? So I think testimony is really hard to prove that you left the country, because anybody can say that you left. If I'm your friend and I want to help you, I'm going to say, oh, yeah, they left, and I can write a letter, right?
Yeah.
But I think what they are looking for is like hard court evidence, like a stamp on your passport, an entry stamp to Mexico, any record that would show that you, in fact, went back to your country.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean,
Yeah.
anybody could say, right?
A heart surgery overseas. I mean, you had to physically be there
Medical
for that
record.
heart surgery. You
Yeah.
know, lack of anything in the U.S. Documentation for that.
Okay, interesting. So is it normal to have a 751 pending over the years?
Yes.
Yes.
751, average 3-4 years, right?
Up to 4 years, yeah. That's why you get an extension for 48 months at the beginning. Once you file the 751, you should be able to continue to travel and work for another 4 years before you get a decision. So yes.
So for this voluntary departure, the letters they submitted as evidence are from their school and their municipal office. So do you think if they just translate it and send it in, that would be enough?
Oh, it's from government agency.
Yeah. I would go, I mean, I rarely ever submit just 2 documents for anything. Any argument that I make, I tried at least 15. Why 15? I don't know. Maybe something where in law school I picked up that number. But, 3 to 7, maybe too easy to get. 15 is pretty much like, okay, there's a lot of things that I have to read through to kind of prove that you don't have it. So you could prove things in a negative too, right? Like, I couldn't have been in the U.S. because look at my kids, parent sign off form. I wasn't on there. If I were in the U.S., I would definitely be on there, right? So try to find many things, pictures of back then, with your, so yeah, everything and anything.
USCIS accepted my adjustment of status application and rejected my kids. They must be principal too. So give us a breakdown on how to file I-45 for minor under 14.
So it depends on the petitioner, right? Who is the petitioner? So if it's U.S. citizen petitioning for spouse and children, that's an immediate relative. So therefore, the petitions have to be individual. So there are 3 I-130s, 3 485s, 3 765s if they qualify for I-131. So it just depends who the petitioner is. So, but if you go to the USCIS website and you put on the fee calculator, if you put your situation in there, it'll tell you if it's an individual petition or if it tags along. So once you choose the category, then they'll tell you how to file it.
And this is approved asylum.
Oh,
Yeah,
we don't do
we
asylum. Sorry,
we can't do asylum at the office.
we don't do asylum, so I wouldn't know.
Changes from case being actively reviewed by USCIS to USCIS is currently processing the case. So actively reviewed to currently processing. What does that mean?
I don't know. USCIS officers don't know either. Sometimes they say, yeah, I don't know why the system changed. Literally nothing changed. So they have always been telling us, take it with a grain of salt. IT is doing things are happening all the time. You just don't know.
Yeah, so it looks like the letters were written in 93, and they're both in the FOIA.
Okay. Yep.
I'm an LPR. I had a DWI misdemeanor 8 years ago. Can I be taken by ICE if stopped?
You're a green card holder.
Yeah.
With one
Driving while
DUI.
intoxicated. DWI.
Oh.
Driving while intoxicated.
8 years ago.
Don't think it is a high chance. I don't think ICE is trying to detain and stop people who have green cards. That is not their top priority.
Any new updates on the 75 country pause?
I haven't heard any. Yep, it's still a pause, and I predict that it's still going to continue for an extremely long time.
Yeah, even at AILA, the national conference, did you hear any movement on it?
Nope. And people are just saying what they think, and a lot of people actually agree with me that it is going to take a long time. Yeah.
Will the visa bond continue after August 7th? It's said to be a pilot program that expires August 7th, to my knowledge.
I think the pilot program will expand. Yeah. I would not be surprised if eventually that pilot program is expanded worldwide.
I'm sorry about my accent in advance. Esto de migración me tiene súper estresando. Tengo corte el 30 de este mes y iré sin abogado.
Oh, so tiene una... Yeah, that was
That's
impressive.
pretty good. Yeah, I haven't heard you say that. Yeah, that's very good.
So it sounds like they have an immigration court hearing and that they are going by themselves and they are extremely stressed out. So they're asking, I guess, any advice possibly as to when you go by yourself, when you don't have an attorney, what would be the best way to prepare?
Yeah. There's a lack of video on this, but just knowing exactly what the situation feels like and looks like should help a lot. The day of the court hearing, it's going to be a lot of people, and you don't know when you'll be called. You might be first, you might be last. They're scheduling it right in front of you. So be patient, be hydrated, use the restroom, you're ready. So when they call you and you get to talk, you might only have a few minutes. So it's a long day. It could be a couple hours, but you don't know when you will be called. There's a lot of people, and you could be observing different people and what we're going through. It's really important to pay attention to what the judge's attitude is like. Reading the judge's attitude. Is this judge more in favor of some things versus the other? Is this judge fighting with the trial attorney? Is the trial attorney doing everything and the judge is completely agreeing? What is the dynamic? And being able to really watch, pay attention, and read the room so you can sometimes answer appropriately. We have won some cases because we just saw what the judge liked, right? So for example, we want to recalendar a case. We want to push a case further down. But the trial attorney, on another case, was saying, no, let's keep it together. Let's do it right now. For our case, we were saying, well, you're not prepared. We are prepared. You're not prepared. And do you want to adjudicate a case that's not prepared? It's on your record, judge. The judge's like, I want to do it right. I don't want to just do it sloppily. And so pay attention to what the judge likes and dislikes. The judge is supposedly fair. And pay attention to that and try to use the similar argument. And then again, prepare your case as best as you can the day before, but prepare the day of. And just knowing that kind of setting, I think already helps a lot, because a lot of people think differently. I don't know what's going to happen at immigration court, right?
Entonces el abogado está diciendo que usted va a tener que estar preparado para un día largo, porque van a haber muchas personas ese día que van a tener posiblemente audiencias. Entonces no hay un orden en el que lo van a tomar, sino que usted tiene que esperar a que le toque su turno. Tiene que ir preparado, tiene que ir hidratado también para estar en ese cuarto esperando. También observe cómo el juez está llevando los casos y qué es lo que el juez está más más o menos demandando de los casos y trate de preparar su argumento basado en lo que mira que está el juez, que le gusta al juez. Dice el abogado también, han habido veces en que nuestros casos han sido exitosos porque hemos mirado exactamente lo que el juez está buscando y podemos presentar esa información cuando nos toca nuestro turno de audiencia. Entonces, simplemente esté muy enfocado y poniendo atención, vaya preparado para un día largo y tenga toda su información con usted.
Wow, good job, Gabby.
Hers sounded a little bit different than yours.
A little bit? It should be a lot.
An LPR was denied reentry due to a marijuana charge they got 8 years ago. How can they expedite the process?
An LPR, a green card holder coming back into the country, was denied reentry because of a drug offense that happened 8 years ago. And if it was just a pure denied reentry and they're back in their home country, there might be hope. Might be. We could try again with a different customs officer. We could try to appeal it. We could do different things. You could wait for a different administration because we had a client that came in and out of the country for 20 years, totally fine. Family, all U.S. citizens. This administration came around just last year, and then this person was detained and deported. Different administration, different priorities. Drug offense 8 years ago, definitely a big problem for this administration. Next president might not be, right? Especially if a lot of drug offense, depending on what it is, get downgraded to like a 3rd degree, right? Which is not even, a top degree anymore. And so people could still get so immigration law by itself will change because it matches the criminal code. Now, if you're already in the system, it's not so much CBP denied you entry, it's CBP took your green card, gave you over to ICE, and now you're in detention and you have immigration court. That's a different story, right? And the Supreme Court just ruled on this on June, I think, 23rd, where customs have that authority and it deemed you inadmissible, and now your green card could be taken away.
Oh yeah, so they didn't take away the green card.
And where are they? So did they leave the U.S.?
Did they go back?
If they just left if they just didn't allow them to enter, there is a chance for them to come back in. And
they're in Costa Rica.
Oh, okay. So here's the facts I would want to know, right? How long have they left the U.S. in total, right? So when was the last time they left? Were here in the U.S. When did they leave? Up to now, how long have they been out? And all the details about when they tried to enter, why they were denied entry, the criminal case by itself. I would take all of that and I would go to a customs officer and ask them, can this person come in now or later? When? And what documents what else would you want? I would talk with the officer, get everything squared out clear, and then I would have you go and meet that officer prepared to come back in. That's what I would recommend, right? So
yeah, they said they've been out for 2 months.
Oh.
That's not that big of a deal. We've been helping clients come in left the country for 7 years, 9 years, 13 years, right? Now, obviously, you want to come back to the U.S. as soon as possible. Your family's here, your life is here. So let's set up a consultation and talk about that.
Are naturalized citizens safe to travel abroad?
Much safer than everyone else.
K-1 visa approved and the status is ready at the embassy in Bogota. No idea when we should expect next.
Yeah, I don't know.
So there is a website with the Department of State where you can check the scheduling for the interviews for K-1 visas. So if you go into the Department of State website, you select non-immigrant visa, and then you select the Bogota consulate. It'll tell you what cases they are working on. That kind of gives you a time frame of how long it's going to take to get your interview scheduled.
Now, the first case I want to talk about is the H-1B self-petition case, meaning this is a college graduate, started a company as a student, owns the company, it's an empty company. There's no office, no employees. It's just him and his friend. His student visa is about to expire. He wants to work in the U.S. and continue to stay in the U.S. OPT is about to expire, wants to stay in the U.S. Not married to a U.S. citizen, cannot get a green card, don't have any extraordinary abilities, so cannot get like an O1 visa or apply for B-1A. Doesn't want to go back to grad school, pay a bunch of additional money for grad school. He wants to do what she's good at doing. Started a company, so did a H-1B self-petition. There's a lottery process, so we filed for the lottery, got selected. you know, this year is probably a 50% chance we're estimating. So she got selected, she's lucky, but still you have to prove to the government that your company needs you to be able to work in the US and can pay you to work. Do you know what her job duty is?
What is it? Is it like a CEO or
Nope.
no?
She's a creative writer.
Oh,
So she has a bachelor's degree. She's a creative writer. In the age of AI, when you could put any prompt in and anything pumps out, why does that qualify somebody to stay in the United States, especially as a self-petition? Self-petition is extra rare, and it's only become more recent, recently because USCIS came out with a memo allowing it. But in the past, if you own the company and you're petitioning yourself, the government says that doesn't work. You can't do that. That's just saying you want to be in the U.S. and you approve yourself. Well, that doesn't work. The government says you need a bona fide, real company that really wants you and prove that they really want you and need you, and you have the qualifications to be able to do the job in order for us to prove your H-1B. And there's a quota. There's, only so many H-1Bs to go around for all of the United States. Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, everybody wants H-1B workers in their company. How can you, a creative writer, open up your own LLC, petition yourself, and you can use up a slot? That's outrageous. So in the past, it was really, really difficult. But now, with the H-1B memo allowing for self-petition, it's available. We did a few last year successfully. This is the first one that we did this year that got approved without a request for evidence. Now, in this entire application, the creative writer part was actually the easiest because the job, the company, the business is that they are creating short form entertainment videos on TikTok, on Red, on YouTube, Instagram, for people to consume, to watch. Think of Netflix, right? They're creating, they're directing. That's a lot of creative writing, and that is a production. That's a full-on production, and it could be monetized. So that position, when you look at other companies that do this kind of work, everybody needs a bachelor's degree. You know, Netflix, when they're hiring creative writers, they're not hiring somebody who's just out of high school. You need to have that kind of training to be able to write really well, to be able to direct and things like that. So this person, our client, was doing that. Great. The business model, the position, what other companies do, they require it. That was actually the easy part. It just seems bizarre in this day and age, but that is what they're doing. Like if they were doing a creative writer, but they're starting a company and their company is a restaurant, probably wouldn't fly, right? You don't need a creative writer for a restaurant, unless you make a really good argument. But it's hard,
menu.
Right? Then the menu, right? But their business is actually producing these short form contents for their clients and then publishing it and then getting sponsors and stuff. So I'm like, okay, you're like a director, I could see that. So we spend most of the H-1B application focused on that. The weak part of this case is that it's a brand new company. No clients, just him and his friend, right? And it's a self-petition. And we argued, and the biggest concern for self-petition is that you just want to hire yourself. You're just buying your own visa. And so in the past, to get around that, you have to show, well, no, it is a real company and I can be fired. It's not just me wanting to work for my own company, I can be fired. But how can you be fired if you owned your company? So we made the argument that it is a manager-managed LLC, not a member-managed LLC. I am the owner of the company, but who controls it? It's the manager, my friend. They own a small percentage. So we did the corporate documents. We prepared it well. So you need to know business law in order to do this well, right? So you did this well, prepared the case, filed it, and the business plan and all the potential clients and all the production stuff, we put it in the business plan. We didn't argue in the brief, but we showed everything. We were preparing for a really bad request for evidence, challenging that it's a new business, but they didn't go that far. They saw the business plan. They saw the ideas and all the short story and short forms approved without request for evidence. This is an 18-month approval for H-1B, and then they have to do an extension to prove that hey, they are actually doing what they're doing. So, H-1B self-petition is a very new thing. Only the past 2 years is it around, but it is really important. If they were doing this overseas, they would have to pay that $100,000 fee to the government. But because they graduated, they got the lottery, they filed it, now they're able to stay 18 months in the US to build out this business as a creative writer, creating TikTok, Instagram reels, and launch their company. And we'll see.
Wow.
We'll see if they're going to be successful, right? But this was fun.
That is such a creative way of presenting the case.
Yeah.
Is a manager manage LLC. It's not, I'm the owner, but I don't,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I don't manage it.
I don't manage myself.
Yeah.
You know, I have somebody else watching me do it.
Right.
So yeah, no, that's really cool.
Yeah, and a creative writer in this day and age doing all this stuff. And so, a lot of times when people are like, I want to do a self-sponsored H-1B, the first thing you ask is, well, what do you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that you want to do, are you good at it? Can you do it? Do you have the education credentials to do it? You need to have the training for it. You need to have the education expertise and diplomas and transcripts to back it up.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have that, then the next question is, who else does that? What kind of companies do what you're doing? Do they typically hire bachelor degrees to do it? If they don't, then it also doesn't work, right? And so there's a lot of positions in the United States that don't require bachelor's degrees. And they say anybody could do it. And so that makes that occupation quite difficult. And there's things like marketing that's too broad. Some companies require bachelor degrees, some don't. Then it's too broad. So you want to pick something that's specific, and you want to have the credentials to be able to do it, and you need to do it, and hopefully you can actually find a way to actually make money. And then you start the company, you can't be the CEO of the company to do it because somebody else needs to be managing it. You need to be doing that, right? Because CEO running a company and the creative writer of the company is two different roles.
That's why I said at the beginning, like, I think this is a CEO. But you're like, no, it's a creative writer. I'm like, huh? How do you self-petition like that? So it's very interesting. But it just sounds to me like it's so much research on the team that's working on this case.
Yeah.
You have to study the business law. You have to look for companies that are doing the same thing. You have to do so much goes unheard when we prepare these cases. We have to learn about life.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah.
You do a marriage-based case, you need to learn so much about different cultures and different things. So I think that's what's like most fascinating about immigration is that you get to learn broadly about anything else.
Yeah. And we have to do this analysis before they even file for the lottery, because so many clients this year we saw, they filed the lottery themselves, they just chose a random position. And then they got selected, but then when we look at the position, you chose the wrong name for your job. And you can't go back and correct it, and therefore your case can't, we can't even submit it for you. So you won the lottery for nothing, right? And so that's a very painful situation that we're seeing. So you have to do this whole analysis. What's your job? What's your company? What are you gonna do? Can it be doable? Yes, okay, we do that analysis, then we go for the lottery. Then you get selected, okay, now we actually execute and prepare everything and file, and hopefully there's no request for evidence, and the case got approved.
Yeah, that's a lot, but congratulations. That's so cool.
It was Grace's team.
Grace? Yay, Grace.
Yeah, very good.
Okay, I want to get into the second success story.
The situation is this. Somebody's on an H-1B. They got terminated. They got fired. Okay? And now they have a grace period before they can find another job. They didn't. They couldn't find a different job. They couldn't get to another H-1B. But their house is here. There's pets here. Their family's here. They have to leave now. They don't have status anymore. So one way is you just leave. The other way is you overstay, become illegal, finish everything, and then leave. But that might be a big problem because you might get an NTA, notice of intent to appear to immigration court. You might have a deportation record. The safest thing is to file a change of status from an H-1B who got fired, who laid off, and now you need to become a tourist and stay here. This individual didn't have a tourist visa. If they did, they could just leave and come back in as a tourist, assuming that the customs officer will let them. But they didn't. So they had to do a change of status to a tourist to buy themselves 6 months of time. If you know anything about immigration law in the past 2 years, this is extremely difficult. Change of status from tourist visa, extending it for another 6 months, going from H-1B to a tourist, very difficult. If you're on a tourist visa and you want to change to H-1B or change to an O-1, maybe a little better, but you're downgrading from a work visa to a tourist, typically a lot harder. But prepared it, did it. They bought their return ticket. They were canceling their bank accounts. They canceled the lease agreements. They did a lot of things to leave. But right after they did everything, another employer came and said, hey, would you like to work for us? Now we need to go from a pending tourist visa application and change it back to a H-1B. With the concern of, will the officer without a chance of actually sitting before the client and reviewing with them, just basically looking at the application. You got a H-1B, you got fired, you changed to a B-1, B-2 tourist visa, and now you got another job and you're filing a change back to H-1B. Did you do the middle part to search for a job? The answer is actually you cannot do that, right? Because if you can, what's the big deal? But you can't. You can't be a tourist shopping for jobs.
Yeah.
You can't be a tourist interviewing. That's not a tourist permissible activity according to the immigration law right now. So, a lot of suspicion. Our case got approved. It was really hard. We did this thing. We obviously proved the time and date when the lease was canceled. The car was sold. The bank accounts were closed. The plane ticket was purchased. Text messages with friends and family. Like that was set in stone. That was a plan. New employer comes knocking. We got the new employer to prepare the entire H-1B application, and on top of that, write an affidavit saying, this is what happened at our company. Somebody left. We needed an individual. We needed them we need a place to fill. We found this individual, and we reached out to them. We didn't know their situation. We thought they were still on H-1B. We didn't know, but now that this is in a situation, we want to say that they did not have an intent to shop for a job. We got that. We submitted everything. Fingers crossed. We did not know if we're going to get a request for evidence, if this case was going to get denied. It was the first time doing something like this in this administration at this time, because the discretion for change of status memo just came out last year. It's a very difficult thing. We tried our best, and the case got approved. And this is one of those things where you just never know, right? I think this is one of those situations where if you ask 100 attorneys, probably most people will say it's very difficult. Who would know? We didn't know. Nobody really actually has the answer. But the truth is the truth, and you prepare it well and explain it, and you hope that on the other side of the mailbox, the officer who gets the case flips through it, sees the things. Now, if we just submitted one document, if we just submitted, here's my plane ticket, I was planning on leaving and I didn't, will the officer believe you or not? Maybe, maybe not. But we went way above and beyond and showed all of these things. That's why I said the 15 things. So give them so much that it is impossible to doubt you.
To deny.
And the case got approved. And now they're able to continue to work and stay in the U.S. That's huge, right? Or else they go back. If they had to apply for H-1B outside, that would be 100,000, right? More. So, that's one of those things where it's just like, that's amazing. Good job, Grace.
It is. It is super amazing. And then good thing the client documented everything, right?
Yeah.
Good thing there was proof, because sometimes we come across these cases like where there is very limited evidence. We have to kind of go and find anything else that we could use. But it's so important when you are undergoing an immigration process to keep tabs of everything that you can possibly imagine, right? Like imagine when you do 245I cases, you have to prove presence back on December 20th, 2000, 21st, 2000, like 26 years ago. I don't remember where I was last week.
Right.
How can I remember what I did 26 years ago? So I think it's just important that they had all the evidence and that it was so concise, like lease agreement, closed bank accounts. Like I was getting ready to leave. In fact, like I'm getting rid of everything. And now new employer comes
And common sense is really important. Like none of the stuff that we did here is immigration law. It's just common sense. Well, if you really planned on leaving, what are you going to do with all this stuff? And what was your plans and text messages? So I just always pretend I'm an officer and I ask myself that question. And what do I want to see? And then I ask the clients that, and then they prepare everything. I'm like, okay, do I feel like it's good enough? Probably. And I just challenge the clients to always kind of give more. And then once we get everything as much as we can, then we kind of make the argument, right? Our job half the time is kind of like being the parent to push the client to get us more documents so that they can win their case, right? Help us help you, help us help you win your case, right? We're not magicians. We can't just say, this person is approvable, stamp it, and we approve it. We're not the government. But we're zealously advocating for you, right? Rooting for you. But you need to be able to get us documents.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys advocate for the clients. I advocate for the chatters.
Good point.
Yes.
I'm like, did you answer? I'm like, I put myself in the chatter's position. I'm like, oh, would I be happy with that answer?
Yeah.
Good point, though. Good point. We do have to put ourselves in the shoes of our clients 100%.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have to kind of live through them. And then sometimes even think about I sometimes think about my personal life, right? Like I'm a mom, I have a husband, I have children. I'm like, okay, we're doing a marriage-based case. Why do we have to prove that we are bona fide?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm like, oh yeah, like, even sometimes when we went to the ALA conference, I attended one of the sessions, and then they were saying, I heard that this person say something along the lines of, even a fight would prove that it's a legitimate marriage.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Even a fight, like, how can you prove that you're in a legitimate relationship because we fight?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm like,
Yeah.
never thought of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. I tell the clients all the time.
Yeah. Even proving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Okay, that is our time for today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you guys.
Okay,
See you guys
thank
next week.
you.
We will
Bye.
be live this time
Bye.
next week.